I saw the poster for Casting Kill, which was just a poster of a woman sitting off in the sort of in the background, and a like a person holding a belt in a sort of hangman fashion in the foreground. We see posters all the time for stuff, but it just grabbed me, so that was all I had to go on. You know, I didn't know anything about James or Carolyn or Raya Films or any of the previous works they'd done. And then I started digging into that, and I not only liked what I saw, but I got a distinct sense of progression about their work. And not to call myself some kind of critic, but there was a growing professionalism through line as their work chronologically went on, and they seemed to be keeping to reach for more with each project. And where I was in my life, I looked at where they were. From what I could tell, and I thought that it would be I thought that we were like maybe synced up.
Ready? Action.
We felt each other out, I guess, over the course of a while. It was like a year, and I kind of like nominated myself to work on it. I was like, I'd like a shot at it, and I put together like some ideas of what I thought could work. And they just stayed open-minded about it, and we kept in touch. And then they shot the movie in 6 days, which was like, I don't know, unheard of to me. Like they had one location, I think, at least one picked out, and they were going to do it at a certain time, and it fell through for whatever reason. Then they had to go back, I think, and even doctor the script up a little bit because of location changes. And then they got the whole ship together and slammed the thing out in 6 days, which was like concerning to me. But then I saw it and I was like, holy shit, I can't believe they got this done in 6 days at this level. You know, they sent over the reels, which are what you see maybe going on behind me there. It's ungraded, shot and edited film, cut up into sections, and I take a look at that and decide what I'm going to do. And it's weird because you watch this stuff that you almost expect music to come in at certain places because you've watched a bunch of movies and like nothing's happening.
Tell me, why do you want to be an actor?
The point at which they hand it to you is during post-production when like usually the film's mostly already cut. And now it's a big vulnerability for a director because and other top level production staff, because now they're just handing it off to some guy who's going to like scratch some kind of soundtrack onto it, and that is going to either really help the film or maybe not. You know, they took a chance with me, and I really appreciate that. And it's been a fun film to work on. I've had I can hear every damn line in my head because I've played it over and over and over while I test out the music and stuff to it, and it's been it's like etched into my mind. I got a lot of freedom on what to do from the director, James, and that was awesome. And then I set one of my first tests was setting about limiting how I was going. Some people might call it planning. I call it limiting my own imagination about what I was going to do. Because when you read the script, that's fun too, because you just see it in your mind, but you don't have any responsibility of making it. So you're just like, someone's going to make this, so I'm going to imagine it. And then they make it, and it's like it's usually pretty different than what you imagined, but like in a technical sense, but in a what's the gist of the movie emotionally, what's the sense of the movie, the feeling, the humor, all that stuff. It's if it's in sync with what you felt when you were reading the script, then you usually feel really comfortable, like you already know it really well. Very perceptive and promising start.
Okay.
That's a casting call quote.
Very perceptive and promising start.
What I do in my process here is I become my own curator of what I'm trying to do, and I go, okay, that's what I've decided to do. Now I'm going to work within that box. I usually don't break out of those chains I put on myself for my own benefit. If you have a director that doesn't have the words to describe what they want, it's like whitewater rafting, and you gotta like help them. You're like the guy in the boat that knows how to steer the boat, but you both have to paddle or you won't get out of this alive. So it's like you're like, okay, there's a whirlpool coming up, go left, because they'll use words like, I want it to be sensual, and you're like, okay, and you'll do what you think is sensual, and they'll be like, no, I guess what I meant is I wanted you to do what I thought was sensual. When I was gonna work on Casting Kill, just to talk about the fact that they wanted that Hitchcock kind of thing, I went and grabbed the score to North by Northwest, which I would have liked to have had anyway. So now I had an excuse to buy it, and I brought it home and transcribed it. Transcribed a couple passages from it to sort of get an idea of his orchestration and stuff. I didn't want to ape what he does, because that's lame, but I definitely used it as a big influence to help set that mood. So after Nora comes down the stairs, descends into like this sort of weird world of Arthur, she's off her footing. Now her very same theme, which was a hopeful theme, now sounds like I've moved it, I've transposed it a little bit, and now it's down here with bassoons and stuff. It's going like, you know, and now it just sounds a little bit more dangerous, and then we start throwing in that kind of like, not quite Jeopardy, but there's sort of a clock ticking on the harp, you know?
Take a seat, Nora.
And she starts talking, and he starts talking, and they're sizing each other up. And I have I think, yeah, so and I have some like string pads around it and stuff, and it's just kind of like maybe things are gonna turn out all right. Like, I know where they're coming from. They wanted to do something that was like somewhat homage to thrillers of the 60s, Hitchcock stuff, that kind of thing, with something to say about the film industry now, speaking about the challenges that they've had working in their industry, and some of the characters they've met along the way and stuff. The movie is an accretion, I think, of those experiences, and with a fairy dust of the films of yesteryear kind of
Eddie,
vibe.
Don't go out on the streets with that gun. You know the cops are after you. And your brother is one of them, for God's sake.
They gave me the direction to write something that was like, I think specifically they said like maybe like a retro sounding soundtrack without making it cartoonish or satirical or something. And so, but to leave some humor in for the humorous parts, or to leave some pathos in for the humorous parts. I don't want to make anyone who makes a movie feel like they don't have the power over me, but I do enjoy the ability to influence. Let's call it influence. How to make friends and influence people using music, not planning out every last detail, no storyboards, nothing. It's just I get stuff. It comes in raw. It comes out with my perception of what the scene means. And with a little, hopefully an educated guess on what it means to other people. And if a director is very explicit about that, that's kind of makes it easier. If I'm given the freedom to determine that myself, that's very fun. That's very fun. It is a form of of control in a way. You could say that when the boss is away, I am the boss when the boss is away. I'm working on these reels, and I'm deciding what kind of music's going to go on, and I write some sheet music, and then I play it in. So it's a multi-stage process. I look at the film, I write to the film, and then I go and I have to play it all in using sample libraries. And I also send back the initial playback to James. Another thing I had to do with Cast and Kill was I was given a contour of how it was going to go. So big beginning, big ending, and restraint, mostly peppered throughout the middle with a couple of maybe surprise moments or scares or such, stingers, whatever you want to call them. And that was why I kind of went bombastic over the top with like the first, with the overture at the beginning. Whether they trust you or not, they say they do. And they give you the freedom that you need. Maybe they understand you just need space to do your thing. And then you respectfully check in with them. Do you like this? Do you like that? Not like a crazy boyfriend or something, but just kind of like every once in a while, like, how am I doing with this? Is this the right direction? And if they say yeah, then you start to develop this rapport, right? Because what we're really talking about, I think, is the first time you work with a director. The second time, it's even easier, I think. And the third time, it's even easier. It's not always the case, but it tends to be the case. It tends to be the case with an entire production crew, which is why certain crews work with the same people over and over again for like 20 years, 30 years. Hey, we're bringing the band back together. We're doing Indiana Jones 8. If some of you are still alive, come on in. You know what I mean? It's been great. I've just been having a blast, and they've been liking what I'm doing, and I'm loving what they're doing, and it's been an awesome collaboration. I thought about it a lot, and I listened to a lot of Bernard Herrmann music and some John Barry music for the comedy. And you know, that was kind of my jumping off point. And then I just started writing stuff and giving it to them, and they liked it. So it was luck. It was luck that it all worked out chemically like that.